The story begins with Guido and his best friend, Ferruccio, making their way to the Tuscan city of Arezzo. They are traveling in a broken-down car that barely functions, bouncing along a dirt road while Guido remains ever optimistic about their future. Guido, a naturally charismatic and mischievous man, dreams of opening a bookstore in town. Ferruccio, who is more practical and reserved, warns him about the difficulties ahead, but Guido simply laughs, convinced that luck is always on his side. Their arrival is anything but smooth. As they reach a small village, their failing car speeds out of control, rolling downhill and nearly crashing into a group of startled villagers before finally stopping in a hay barn. Instead of panicking, Guido dusts himself off and turns the accident into a comedy act, charming the locals with his clever wordplay. His carefree attitude and quick thinking establish him as someone who can turn any situation to his advantage. Soon after arriving in Arezzo, Guido has a chance encounter with Dora, a beautiful and kind-hearted schoolteacher. Their meeting is nothing short of fate. Dora quite literally falls into his arms when she slips from a barn loft. Guido is immediately enchanted by her and seizes the moment with his signature charm. He jokes that he has been waiting for an angel to fall from the sky just for him. Dora, flustered but amused, thanks him and quickly departs. However, Guido is already smitten and determined to see her again. As the days pass, Guido accidentally crosses paths with Dora multiple times, always greeting her with an exaggerated, playful "Buongiorno, Principessa." His confidence and comedic timing intrigue her, despite her being engaged to a wealthy but arrogant man named Rodolfo. Guido soon learns that Dora is engaged to Rodolfo, an uptight and self-important man with powerful connections in the local government. Instead of giving up, Guido sees this as another challenge, one he will overcome with humor and creativity. One day, while working as a waiter at a grand hotel where Rodolfo and Dora are attending a formal dinner, Guido uses a mix of luck and wit to humiliate his rival. He manages to spill champagne on Rodolfo while making it seem accidental, turning an embarrassing moment into an opportunity to impress Dora. She is clearly amused by Guido's antics and his complete disregard for social norms. Meanwhile, Guido's charm extends beyond Dora. He cleverly outwits a local government official by using wordplay to make it seem as if he is an educated scholar, when in reality, he is simply improvising. Through his quick thinking and natural confidence, Guido begins making a name for himself in the town. One of Guido's boldest moves happens when he steals a moment alone with Dora. He convinces her to go on a spontaneous horse ride with him, a stark contrast to the stiff and predictable life she has with Rodolfo. During their ride, Guido makes her laugh and feel free in a way she never has before. At one point, he even sneaks them into an opera performance, pretending to be an important guest. His ability to turn the ordinary into something magical slowly wins Dora over. This growing attraction becomes undeniable when Guido cleverly sabotages one of Rodolfo's grand gestures. When Rodolfo tries to impress Dora by arranging a lavish horse ride for her, Guido secretly swaps out the horse for an old, worn-down one with political graffiti painted on its side. The entire town laughs at Rodolfo's expense, while Dora is left secretly delighted by Guido's playful rebellion. At this point, it's clear Dora is falling for Guido, even if she isn't ready to admit it yet. Despite the obstacles in their way, Guido and Dora's romance blossoms. She begins sneaking away from her privileged lifestyle to spend time with him, drawn to his humor and warmth. One evening, during a lavish party, Guido pulls off one of his most daring acts yet. While Dora is seated next to Rodolfo, forced to endure another dull evening, Guido orchestrates a moment of fate. As if by magic, he appears by her side, takes her hand, and whisks her away, right in front of everyone. They escape into the night, laughing as they run through the streets of Arezzo. In that moment, Dora makes her decision. She wants a life filled with laughter, love, and adventure, not wealth and status. Eventually, Dora leaves Rodolfo for good and marries Guido. They start a simple yet happy life together, and Guido finally fulfills his dream of opening a bookstore. Years pass, and Guido and Dora's happiness grows with the birth of their son, Giosu. Their little family is filled with joy, and Guido continues to spread his sense of humor and optimism to those around him. However, the world outside their home is changing. The rise of fascism in Italy casts a shadow over their peaceful life. Anti-Semitic policies are being enforced, and as a Jewish man, Guido faces increasing discrimination. Signs appear in shops barring Jewish people, and restrictions tighten. Still, Guido shields his son from these harsh realities, using humor and imagination to disguise the growing dangers. When Giosu asks why certain shops won't allow them inside, Guido spins a playful tale, saying that the owners simply don't like certain animals, like spiders and Visigoths. But despite his best efforts, the inevitable happens. One day, Guido and his son are taken by Nazi soldiers and forced onto a train bound for a concentration camp. Dora, though not Jewish, refuses to be separated from them and voluntarily boards the train. As they leave their home behind, Guido still manages to smile for his son, determined to protect him from the horrors that lie ahead. As they arrive at the camp, Guido immediately senses the horror of their situation. He sees the Nazi guards barking orders, the exhausted prisoners, and the towering barbed wire fences. But instead of showing fear, he turns the experience into a game for Giosu. Guido explains to his son that they are in a grand competition where the first person to earn 1,000 points wins a real tank. He tells Giosu that the rules are simple. Crying will result in losing points. Complaining about hunger will cost points. Hiding from the guards and following orders will earn them points. Giosu, still a child, believes his father's story and begins to view their situation as an adventure rather than a nightmare. Guido's quick thinking keeps his son's spirit alive while shielding him from the grim reality. Behind Guido's playful facade, he knows the truth. The Nazis immediately separate the weak and elderly, sending them to the gas chambers under the guise of showers. At one point, Giosu nearly wanders into a group of children being led to their deaths. Guido, realizing the danger, rushes to grab him just in time. He maintains his composure, making up a joke to keep Giosu unaware of what is really happening. Meanwhile, Dora, in the women's section, is subjected to harsh labor and dehumanizing treatment. She desperately seeks news of her husband and son, hoping they are still alive. One day, a Nazi officer calls for an interpreter. Guido, though not fluent in German, boldly steps forward. The officer gives a long and terrifying speech about obedience and punishment, but instead of translating the real message, Guido turns it into nonsense for the prisoners, pretending it's part of the game. With exaggerated hand gestures and playful expressions, he convinces Giosu that the officer is merely explaining the rules of their competition. His ability to remain calm under pressure keeps Giosu from feeling afraid. Desperate to let Dora know they are still alive, Guido sneaks into the Nazi command center and uses the loudspeaker system. "Good evening, Princess," he announces cheerfully, using their special greeting. Dora hears his voice across the camp, and for a brief moment, she smiles. It's a small but powerful reminder that love and hope still exist in the midst of despair. Days turn into weeks, and food becomes scarce. Giosu begins to struggle with hunger, asking his father if they can quit the game. Guido, hiding his own starvation, continues the act. He finds creative ways to sneak food to his son, even risking his life to steal bread from the Nazi kitchen. At one point, he convinces Giosu that everyone else is starving on purpose to make the game more challenging. His selflessness ensures that his son remains hopeful, despite the horrors around them. Guido is summoned by a Nazi doctor who once frequented the hotel where Guido worked as a waiter. For a moment, Guido believes that this doctor might help him and Giosu escape. However, the doctor reveals that he is more interested in solving riddles, one of Guido's old tricks, than in saving lives. Guido realizes with horror that the doctor, despite his previous kindness, is fully complicit in the Nazi regime's atrocities. This encounter solidifies the grim reality: there will be no outside help. Guido must rely only on himself to keep his son safe. As the war nears its end, the Nazis begin executing prisoners to erase evidence of their crimes. Guido senses that time is running out and tells Giosu that the game is almost over. The final challenge is to hide perfectly until the last moment. He finds a safe hiding spot for Giosu and tells him to stay completely silent, no matter what happens. Guido then attempts to find Dora, but he is caught by a Nazi guard. Despite being dragged away at gunpoint, he keeps up the act, marching in an exaggerated, comical manner past Giosu's hiding place. Even in his final moments, Guido makes his son believe that everything is still part of the game. Guido is taken to an alley where a Nazi soldier coldly executes him. His death is quick and unceremonious, but he never once lets fear show on his face. His last act is ensuring that his son remains safe and hopeful. The next morning, American soldiers arrive and liberate the camp. Giosu, still hiding, sees a real tank rolling into the camp. Believing it to be the grand prize of the game, he excitedly runs toward the soldiers. A kind American soldier lifts him into the tank, and for Giosu, it feels like victory. His father was right, the game is over, and they won. As he is reunited with Dora, he shouts with joy, "We won!" His mother, in tears, embraces him, and at that moment, she knows that Guido's sacrifice saved their son's innocence.